What's going on, housemates? Marcelo here, and I'm recording this video the day after Arsenal's disappointing 1-1 draw with Fulham at Craven Cottage. Having taken pride in recent weeks of being labeled as set piece FC for our ability to just score at will from corner kicks, we are now looking at a result that shows the other side of that coin, which is the fact that it is true. We do at times struggle a lot to create chances from open play. And this is one of those results where it's really come back to haunt us a little bit. Now, starting again with the starting 11, we saw Gabriel and Calafiori again unavailable, as was Alexander Zinchenko. And so Mikel Arteta had a decision to make. He could either start Miles Lewis-Skelly in his full Premier League debut, or play Kieran Tierney, who has not played for us, has not started for us in over a year. So either of those decisions would have been brave and perhaps a little bold. And knowing Mikel Arteta, he wasn't likely to do that. So instead, he moves Jurrien Timber to left back, where he has not proved to be as effective, and he dropped Thomas Partey back into the right back position. And otherwise, it was a largely changed side, although Martinelli did see the bench for Trossard. And then we had a midfield of Jorginho, Rice, and Odegaard. And so what ensued was really disappointing. Fulham opened the scoring really early on in what was frankly just far too easy of a goal for them to score. Jakob Kivior sort of got dragged out of position by Raul Jimenez. And then it was some smart movement from the Mexican striker to lose Kivior and get in behind him. I also have to say that I think Saliba maybe could have committed a little bit more in contesting Jimenez's shot, but he did not. And so we went behind. It was just a really route one direct goal that was, just too easy, too straightforward. And so it was a half where we just looked really poor. We didn't look creative. We did not look like we were likely to find any joy, find any source for a goal. And thankfully, again, we were saved by a set piece. The ball was played in. It was headed on by Kai Havertz, who I have to say I think could have and maybe was trying to get it on target. He had enough space and time there, but whether intentional or not, he redirected it towards William Saliba, who had a very simple tap-in. There was a scare of offsides briefly, but it wasn't. And so we equalized. Not too long after, Thomas Partey could have given us the lead. He had an open header. It's the second game in a row where he had such an opportunity, except this one was, I think, much better than the one against United. Didn't score. And then, of course, ignoring most of what happened the rest of the game, we almost scored at the death. Gabriel Martinelli really should have stayed on side. There was no reason for him to be caught offside when and where he was. Played a really nice ball, and Saka did well to finish, and we were inches away from winning it, right? But I still have to look at Mikel Arteta and our performance and be critical, right? Because whether you're looking at the Thomas Partey chance or the Bukayo Saka chance, both of those were ultimately a cross. Yes, one was from a corner kick and the other was technically from open play. But both of these chances are a reflection of us relying on crosses rather than being more direct and demonstrating our ability to link up and be creative and, carve out a chance from open play. And so I can't look at those chances and say we were so close to winning the game because, yes, while that may be true, it also reflects a shortcoming of ours that was evident against Man United. Yes, we scored 3 against Forest, 5 against West Ham, and 5 against Sporting not too long before, but it still begs the question, right? Of where is this consistent creativity? And I don't want to be lazy when I look at Chelsea, but I look at Chelsea, and that's a team that just looks far more likely to threaten from open play and score goals from creative situations. Yes, they had 2 penalties against Spurs, but in general, they just looked more exciting and more fluid. And it's just really disappointing to see how when 1 or 2 players are suddenly unavailable, the whole game plan or our whole identity sort of goes out the window. And yes, maybe I'm being a little unfair to Mikel Arteta in saying that he should have started Miles Lewis-Skelly or Kieran Tierney. Both of them are recently returned from injury, but Timber's been the best traditional right back in the Premier League, I think, since he stepped in for Ben White. I think Trent Alexander-Arnold is sort of in his own tier, his own stratosphere as a right back. And Thomas Partey at right back just is an experiment that has never fully paid off, right? And it's always a chain reaction. When you don't have Timber at right back, Bukayo Saka doesn't necessarily have the same support defensively or in attack without Timber there. When you don't have a left back who's able to effectively invert in the way that a left-footed player can, be it even Miles Lewis-Skelly, with Zinchenko and Calafiori unavailable, you struggle even more to get Gabriel Martinelli involved consistently. Also because with Partey or with Declan Rice having more responsibility in defense, because Jorginho is there alongside him, Rice can then not get forward. And whoever's playing the left 8 can't get forward as frequently, even if Marino were to be playing there with Rice at the base of our midfield, right? So there's a chain reaction in all of these decisions we make. And so I do have to look at Mikel Arteta and be critical of him a little bit, at least, because he's so scared to put some faith in some players that, while they may be further down in the pecking order in terms of, the squad ranking, you have to lean on them when you're facing such a defensive injury crisis as the one we are currently in. And so, I got some housemates on Instagram very upset with me for being critical of Arteta, but I'm an objective person, I like to think, and I'm a fan of Arteta, but when you look at how we're playing and how uninspired we are at times in attack, right? Because I know we very recently scored 13 goals in 3 games. But even then, a few of those goals were from corner kicks, and a few of them were also just a cutback from the right side. Our left-hand side still looks almost non-existent when it comes to generating chances. It's hard not to be critical of Arteta, and I think that we have to, again, we sort of stray away from holding him accountable as well, as much as we have to be grateful to him for how far he's taken us and how brilliant of a manager he is. And it's his first position ever, it's his first full, his first managerial role, right? I think we have to hold everyone accountable, players and manager. So it's really frustrating because now, of course, we have even less chance of winning the league. We have to be perfect and Liverpool has to drop points. And it is out of our control, right? We just have to continue avoiding dropping points. But that, again, looks like something that we're struggling to do. No matter how tricky a match Fulham might be, no matter how happy they were with a draw, plenty of teams are going to be happy with a draw against us. And we know that already because we're title contenders, or we want to be title contenders. So I don't want to keep throwing out excuses about, if Partey puts that in or if Martinelli's onside. Partey should have put that in and Martinelli should have been onside. It's not a matter of bad luck. You know what I mean? And other than those 2 chances, we really did close to nothing. So, I can't help but be upset and frustrated with how we look. Now, all we can do is bounce back and continue trying to get back to our best free-flowing football. And Arteta has to be a little bit more bold in finding solutions in the meantime, as we hope that Tomiyasu somehow reappears from the darkness. And Calafiori's situation is, again, a short-term one, although he's already missed 2 more games. And Gabriel, who knows what's going on there. So, we just have to be patient. But again, time is against us, and we don't really have time to just be waiting and hoping for the best. So we really have to just see what we can do to solve this problem, and we have to look to January for potential solutions, both in attack and defense, because I haven't even addressed our attack. I'll save that for another day, maybe, perhaps tomorrow even, but I want to keep this video relatively short. I'll address Havertz's shortcomings and what Martinelli is not doing enough of as well in the near future. Trossard, everyone really. Jesus, I didn't even talk about that Jesus chance where he very bizarrely chose not to stretch himself out and try to get a touch on a ball that was well within his reach. But anyways, I'll save that for tomorrow's video. I hope you have a good start to your week despite yesterday's results, and I will talk to you all very soon. Thank you as always for tuning in. Come on, you Gunners. Peace, everybody.